Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of MEB Pod. Today, it's going to be a nice short episode. I completely forgot to do this. I got caught up being busy down here in Florida, kind of getting back from Seattle and, kind of getting back to the grind or whatever you might call it. But I'm happy to be back here in Florida. Um, I figured I'd be coming from Seattle where it rains every day to down here in sunny Florida, but nope, it rained every day and it downpoured. I mean, it torrentially downpoured more or less. So hopefully we can get back out there to the golf course. Not today, but anyways, well, kind of like I mentioned, it's going to be kind of a very short episode because I kind of forgot to do this earlier in the week because of just being busy kind of unfolding and unpacking everything from Seattle and kind of preparing my little trip for tomorrow, I guess, next week. Heading home to see St. Louis, so looking forward to getting out there for a couple of days, and then back to Miami for a while, just because I gotta get back to work and busy season will be coming up, and looking forward to that. We'll start with the birdie and the double bogey. Man, birdie was just the overall trip in Seattle was just incredible. Definitely, I mentioned it in my last episode that people up there are, a little different, but than what I'm used to at least. But overall, the trip was great. Golf was fantastic. Couldn't ask for better weather. Just kind of overall that birdie. My birdie would just be the Seattle. Kind of buying on Seattle. I couldn't see myself living there. It's kind of what I'm doing here with this trip, or this visiting all the states and playing golf around the country. I want to see where maybe the best golf is. Granted, I'm not going to be playing a ton of courses at each state, but they definitely got some good golf up there. Oh, excuse me. So I mean, hopefully down the road we can find a better spot, a spot that I can call um, the best golf in the country. So I've already started planning my trip for probably April. So I'm already kind of moving forward with another trip. Yeah, so I mean that's kind of my birdies, Seattle in general. More or less. I had a great time. Double bogey is just airplanes in general. I mean, actually, I take that back. I love airplanes. Flights, when you can get from Miami to Seattle in 6 hours, it's pretty incredible. Um, Airplane, it's just the people. I mean, I tend to mind my own business and try to just keep my eyes forward and try to take a nap on the plane or whatever. But, some of the people get so hyped up and excited about it's, but people are, I had a red eye, and I'm not forcing, I can't really force anyone to do anything, but yeah, being loud on the plane at 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, all the way up until 6, and when I landed, it was just like ridiculous. Um, just kids jumping around, and I mean, I get it, I don't have children, but I'm sure I was worse than this kid, so I guess I have no room to talk, but, just anyways, I was able to get a couple hours of sleep. I'm tired now. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. But yeah, I didn't really have too much of a double bogey. I was excited to get home, and I fell asleep for a couple hours on the plane, and um, but which kind of leads me into another double bogey. It's very, very, very sad. What politics and all that has done to this country. It's kind of given two sides. You've got the left and the right, and who's right, who's wrong, and obviously Charlie Kirk felt very strong about his opinion on certain certain things that he believed in, and some people didn't agree with him. And no, this is not a politics focused podcast, and I'm not really getting into it too much, but I think it's just horribly wrong what this kid did, this Tyler Robinson. I don't believe he really was all there. I'm happy to see that his father turned him in. I think that was one of the strongest things that someone can do. I know that's the last thing he wanted to do in his life was turn his kid in for assassinating a strong political person like Charlie Kirk. I agreed with a lot of the things Charlie Kirk had mentioned in his posts or in his things. Did he do it? I believe he did it the correct way. You know, everyone has an opinion. He spoke his mind on certain topics, and he allowed the other side to speak on their opinion and to have a nice, clean debate over a microphone and not violence using guns. I get it. You know, these are very, very sensitive topics: religion, political. You know, the LGBTQ, very sensitive to certain people. And it is hard to talk about, and that's why I try to steer clear of my opinion being out there. But you know, the guy, you know, spoke his mind and did it nice and with debates over a microphone, and people just couldn't handle it. You know, people did not like his opinion, and whether you liked it or not, I don't think violence is the answer. And I know 90% of 99.9, even the people who shot him will say that same thing, that violence isn't the answer. And I think just people, you know, they say mental health is an issue. I'm sure it has a lot to do with this. I know drugs can be an issue. And, you know, and I don't think this Tyler Robinson was all there, to say the least. From the reports that I'm reading, it's saying that he was recently, and over the last couple of months, getting into politics and more political in his life, and ended up realizing, I guess, that Charlie Kirk was coming to this, you know, university, and I think just something snapped on him, and he had something very close to heart that affected him, and instead of talking about it with, doesn't have to be Charlie Kirk, instead of talking about it with his dad or his mom or his or a psychologist or his friends or anybody, just he ended up talking or just shooting Charlie, and it was sad. You know, all he had to do was open his mouth and say, "Hey, I'm getting these weird, scary feelings," and I know no one wants to admit that they're crazy. I'm not calling him crazy, but his actions definitely make him look like it. So, I guess my whole thought process of this, if you ever, it doesn't have to be assassinating. You know, it just could be anything that you're afraid of. I think that's kind of why this platform here, with my YouTube and my TikTok and my Instagram and all this, and I know a lot of it's focused on golf and whatever, and it's not really the most important. You know, it's not really getting all the stuff out of me, but it's definitely a platform to use as opposed to journaling or, you know, talking to a psychologist. I don't have anything really too crazy to talk about, but I know, like, seeing things like this happen, or, you know, me speaking about it now, it really makes me realize that, like, if something were to ever, you know, crazy pop up in anyone's life, I want people to be open, and, you know, and that's what Charlie was there for, man. He was there to let people speak their mind and let it release, you know, because eventually the more people talk, I know a lot of them will sit there and scream and curse and yell at him, but, like, it does release some of that. I don't know, I'm not a doctor or scientist, but I feel, it's my opinion, that the more they yelled at him, they're getting that out, you know. Charlie, I don't think minded getting yelled at, but the violence, and, you know, he lost a lot of people, a lot of friends and family and loved ones around him, and it's sad to see him go, you know. But with that being said, I'm kind of going to get off that topic just because I don't want to get too much into political views or religious beliefs or anything of that nature. I have my opinion, and, you know, and people have their opinion. So back into the golf. So if you have not been watching Barstool's Ryder Cup, it's not the Ryder Cup that we all know and loved here in the next 2 weeks in Bethpage Black. They did their own little Ryder Cup because they all are essentially riders for Barstool, WRITERS. They kind of picked their top, I guess, 8 employees to play in a Ryder Cup style golf tournament thing. It's pure entertainment. You had two captains. You had Ryan Whitney from the Spit and Chicklets podcast, and who was an ex-NHL player. And then you have Riggs from the Foreplay podcast, who is a golf-focused podcast. For those who do not know, I mean, I'm sure you guys know all these that actually do follow me. They're Barstool, owned by Dave Portnoy's Barstool. They're employees of him. So more or less, they did like their own Ryder Cup at a golf course. And these guys are not great golfers. I think I want to say Team Riggs is Riggs, Frankie Borelli, Beef, Jerry, Francis. So yeah, that's team. It's basically Foreplay. All the golfer guys. Beef is the newest addition. Jersey Jerry, Francis, Frankie, and Riggs. And then on the other side, on Ryan Whitney's team, you've got Ryan Whitney, Keith Yandel, another NHL player on Spit and Chicklets. You've got Lil Sass from the Son of a Boy Dad podcast. He's one of my favorites. Not a very good golfer. Golfed in high school, but Lil Sass. Was there 11 guys? I forgot. Lil Sass, Kirk Minahan. I don't even want to get started with him. I don't know why people enjoy his entertainment. He's a nutcase. Kirk Minahan, Lil Sass. Oh, Arian Foster, ex-NFL running back from the Texans. Keith Yandel, Foster, Sass. PFT, Kirk Minahan, Keith Yandel, and so I guess there's 11 guys out there. And then on the Foreplay pod, the Riggs' team, you got Dave Portnoy's on their team. So more or less, they do a Ryder Cup thing. It's very entertaining. I don't think the singles matches are out yet. I'm not going to give any spoilers. More or less, they do a draft. They pick teams to go up against teams. They might pair Dave Portnoy and Jersey Jerry together, which are the two worst golfers on that team. And then with the other team, just for example, this did happen in one of the episodes. It was Jersey Jerry and Dave Portnoy versus Lil Sass and Big Cat. So it's 12 people. I forgot about Big Cat. So there's 12 people on each team. Big Cat is a main speaker for the Pardon My Take, along with PFT and Hank. Hank's on the Foreplay. Forgot about the whole Pardon My Cast take. So, but anyways, so it's a 6v6 tournament. It's very entertaining. Dave Portnoy, Big Cat's probably the worst. So you got Dave Portnoy is probably the second to worst. So they kind of match them up. They'll probably match them up in singles, so that should be pretty entertaining. Obviously, we all know what the guys from Foreplay can do. We know, and then of course, you got guys from Pardon My Take. You got guys from Spit and Chicklets. You got the president of Barstool and Dave Portnoy. You got Jersey Jerry on there, who's kind of hops around different episodes or podcast episodes, but very entertaining. Highly recommended. Definitely think anyone that follows or is a stoolie, I'm sure already watches it, or anyone that's not, that is a YouTube golf fan, definitely recommend watching it. I know that could be, a little political too, sometimes that some people don't like Barstool just because Dave Portnoy. I enjoy it. I think he's great. I think a lot of his work is really good, which kind of brings me into the Ryder Cup. The real Ryder Cup is coming up here in about 2 weeks. I am looking so forward to it. I see all of the Ryder Cup USA's Instagram posts and reels. It's going to be hot. It's going to be nice. It's going to be fun to watch. Really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be one to write down in the books. A good one. I think the United States are going to prevail this year. I know they've had struggled in their past, but it is going to be. I am looking really forward to it. Let's see what they got to do. Now, I did watch the episode Breaking 60 or whatever it was with Grant Horvat and Bronny James. Bronny is he's a good golfer. I mean, he's pretty good. I mean, he's better than I am, that's for sure. I think Bronny's going to be playing a lot of golf. I think he's going to be one of those. He'll end up being a golfer on one of those celebrity tournaments up there in Tahoe, eventually. Post retirement. Well, I guess that's in the middle of summer, so he might even be up there next year. He'll end up making a life around his golf game. It seems like he's pretty hooked. Like a lot of us that have started the game. He's one of the guys that. And unlike his father, who is probably the most athletic guy in the world, his father does not seem as good of a golfer as he is. He definitely looking forward to seeing more of Bronny on the course. Not that he probably won't. You'll probably see him more on the course than you will on the court, unfortunately, for him. But I'm sure he's doing okay. But I also this past week, since I got back to Miami, I've looked into becoming a member at a indoor golf trackman facility. I don't know. Anyways, it's brand new. It just opened up this past Tuesday. I went in there, got a tour of it, looked around, checked it out. Very nice. It's called the Scoring Club here in the Gables. It's got about 5 or 6 trackmans, top of the line, golf equipment. It's got, you can be a membership. You got, access to 400 courses. You've got access to the camera, all the numbers, the spin rate, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to get in there and get dialed in on these heavy rain days in Miami, Florida, it's definitely a nice perk. They've got parking spots in the back for you that you don't need to pay for parking down there, which you normally do. So you've got a lot of. I'm considering doing it just because I think. And and apparently I guess they're gonna have member tournaments and stuff that I can kind of be a part of, which would be kind of nice for me just because I want to network and get to know people other than my, other people in the golf field. So it might be a nice way to get to know people around the area that play golf. So that is definitely in consideration. I'm gonna wait until I get back from St. Louis to look more into it. It's not too expensive, so I'm definitely gonna consider it. Definitely looking forward to. It looks nice. I went in there and I'm a pretty easy sale though, so it's I see something I like, I just kind of go out and figure a way to make it happen. So if that is a possibility in the near future, some of these episodes might be being filmed at the new location, and we'll see if I can get to know people. But definitely we'll be filming stuff in the simulators, the trackmans, with spin rate and all that, and ball speed and all that. I just think that's such an interesting part of the game that no one, an amateur like myself, or not even an amateur, a beginner golfer, really follow or pay attention to. But they've got a nice little putting green that kind of shows your little, and has all the speeds and the angles, and it's kind of nice and neat. But what else can I talk about? I don't really got much else to talk about today, just because, like I said, it's gonna be a short. I completely forgot about this. My map of the United States is getting fuller with little baseball pins and golf ball pins. So got a little bit in the Pacific Northwest now, which is kind of neat, and all the way here in Florida. Got some in Southern California. I got a bunch around St. Louis. I've got some up in the New England area, so looking forward to. I got a little bit in Vegas, so looking forward to getting more on the board here soon. I'm considering Pinehurst as my next trip, so I'm really checking off these U.S. Open courses, It's either Pinehurst, or I might even fly up to Philadelphia, play something out there, and drive up to New York, New Jersey, maybe a little bit of Virginia and West Virginia potentially. I don't know. Well, Philadelphia's up there a lot, so it'll probably be New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, maybe Connecticut, or Pinehurst. Pinehurst will be just the special one that I gotta make sure I take care of that one. It'll be all golf, for 4 days, which will be entertaining. So I guess if anyone listens to this and wants to get out to Pinehurst with me, I know they do deals on cabins or cabins out there, or whatever. Not cabin, I don't know the word, but I guess cabin would be a good word. But so if anyone wants to head out to Pinehurst in April, you let me know. I'm gonna get in contact with someone here out there, or I'm gonna get in contact with somebody out there here soon, and try to start planning a trip if that's the case, that I choose Pinehurst. If I can get in contact with someone quick, it'll probably be Pinehurst over all the other options, because that's definitely a bucket list course, number 2 at Pinehurst. Which kind of brings me to my point. I got my little golf ball collection. It's really piling up. Now I have played, what do I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14, 21, 22. I have 22 golf balls up there. Yeah, 22 different golf courses I've played up there. Now I have played it more. I just haven't collected balls from them. I've got more in St. Louis that, before I started doing this, I want to play a round of golf, obviously, in all 50 states. So the golf ball case up on my wall has 23 different balls, I guess, technically. But 22 different balls to all the courses I've played. Once I start getting that first one filled up, I'm going to do one per state, and all the other courses, like if I do 2 in Washington, I did Washington National and Chambers. I'll put Chambers in the one I did for the state, Washington National in my other. I have another ball case, so I'll put that up here eventually. So I've got, those are kind of my things that I collect from each course. I collect the hat from each course as well, along with the major courses, the courses that the pros will play at. I'll buy a shirt or whatever, just to kind of remember it. So I've got my Chambers Bay shirt, my Chambers Bay hat, the Chambers Bay ball. I've got some golf tees from there, the free stuff that I'll pick up, of course, like ball markers and golf tees and divot tools. And I even got like water bottles that they sell at the golf course that have their logo on it. PGA National. This one is PGA National right here. It's a bear trap, the infamous bear trap that they hosted the Honda Classic. I think it's like the Cosmic Classic now. So yeah, I just try to like take in everything I can from all these different courses, and would like to film out there. So any videographers that want to get out there with me, and just film me, and maybe we'll make something of this. I think I have all the faith in the world that I can do something like this to the level of even a Bob Does Sports, and but we'll see. Hopefully this weekend I am going to be playing golf Saturday, possibly tomorrow. I'm gonna just to kind of get warmed up and stretched out. It won't be anything special, but at least it's something. It's more close to home. But then Saturday I'm gonna be going out and playing around with my 3 brothers, which should be kind of fun. Hopefully I'm able to get them videoed, and we could try to like really get all of our shots, with the tracers, and get a round of all of us. Unfortunately I only have one GoPro. I might be able to borrow my dad's GoPro to fit onto his on the other cart, and we could get both of us filming out there, both carts, and both, that'll be kind of neat. So yeah, maybe we can, maybe I'll be able to make it happen. The phones will be a little different, but we can get at least the shots of everything with the tracers of all 4 of us out there. It'll be kind of neat. So this will be a kind of a real attempt to get out there and do something like that. I guess we won't be able to do, because we're probably playing our own ball. So it'll be a little tough, unless of course whoever's not playing with me wants to film. You probably have to use their own phone, but it's no big deal. We'll figure something out. It's not the end of the world. Yeah, just happy to be back here in Miami. Heading back tomorrow to St. Louis. Looking forward to getting out there, but I will kind of dive into my picks for today. Of course, like I've mentioned in the past, if you have any picks, you send them out to me. I'll have them on there next week. I just did 3 picks, a little 3-game parlay. I do have the Commanders covering the spread at -2.5 over the Las Vegas Raiders. I got Tyler Warren, tight end for the Colts, scoring a touchdown this week. And then Saquon Barkley is going to be rushing for over 85.5 yards. So hopefully, you can take those picks, put them on your Hard Rock or your whatever betting app you have. I know some states don't allow it, but Florida allows Hard Rock down here. So I highly recommend those three. I think those three are going to hit this week. Hopefully, like I mentioned, please send me a DM or whatever your picks for the next week, and I'll get it out by Tuesday this upcoming week by the time I get back. So. Yeah, I'll have it up by Tuesday night. So for the following NFL week, you can throw me your parlay, 3-game parlay, and I'll post it on there. So you just let me know next week. So thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you coming out. Have a great rest of your weekend. MEB Golf is out.